yes, you're thinking of making the move to North Carolina. You've heard a whole heck of a lot about it, but you're not sure if it's really worth it. What if I told you that this state is exploding in popularity because of its affordability, incredible job market, as well as lifestyle, and it avoids a lot of the major headaches of many of the other states? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly why people all across the country and across the world are packing their bags and headed to North Carolina. And stick around to the very end, because one of the reasons is something you may not have ever thought of. I'm '𝗨𝗀, your Charlotte real estate expert and the upstate of South Carolina. If you're looking for everything Charlotte, the ins, the outs, and everything in between, you've come to the very perfect channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and be the first to know about all changes coming to our favorite city of Charlotte. We get calls, texts, emails, Zoom invites every single day for people just like you looking to make the move to the Charlotte, North Carolina area, and South Carolina, of course. If that's you, drop down in the description below. All of our contact information is there, whether you're making the move in 9 days or 90 days from now, moving across the world, across the country, or just across town. We're here to help your move be everything you want it to be. So while there are a ton of amazing reasons to move to North Carolina, and I have experienced all of them, I want to share with you the top 5 reasons why most people are making the move to the North Carolina area. Starting at number 5, affordability and cost of living. That's right, the Carolinas in general have a much lower cost of living than the rest of the country. North Carolina specifically sits 9% lower than the average cost of living in the United States. And when looking at housing, which of course is extremely important, the median home price range in North Carolina sits at $325,000. Now, for some that might seem high, but here's a comparison to take into consideration. New York is sitting closer to $500,000, while California is at $560,000. And my other favorite state of Florida is in a median price range of $450,000. So as you start to see, many of the other popular states in the nation are creeping up higher and higher, making affordability a bit more difficult. This is one of the things I love about North Carolina, is because there is affordability. Now, even if you don't live in one of our amazing major cities, which would include Charlotte, of course, Raleigh, as well as Wilmington and Asheville, there are opportunities outside of these major cities that are still close enough that make it easy and accessible, but also lowers the cost of housing. Now, the other big thing that people look at when we're talking about affordability, North Carolina's taxes sit at 0.77% versus the national average of 1.1%. Now, as you guys know, if you're coming from another state, there is a variety of taxation, from property taxes to income taxes, all the way down to your sales taxes. And yes, the government's gonna get its fair share. That being said, though, North Carolina does, on average, have much lower taxes than many of the other states in our country. Now, one of the things I also like to look at is getting lifestyle without sacrificing amenities. We've traveled in many areas of the country. I've lived in many areas of the country. And one of the things that I notice most often are sometimes the simple things that we don't think about on a daily basis might be more costly. I'm talking about groceries, utility bills, the things that you need on a daily basis in many other states are far more expensive than in North Carolina. One thing to note would be water and power. I'm giving a shout out to Californians that are watching. I know that your electric is out of control. Same in New York. Well, here our cost per watt or kilowatt is about 4 cents. That's right. I know some of you guys are looking at 15, 20, 25 cents a kilowatt hour. We are not paying that here. So the cost of living, the things that you're paying on a daily basis, are also far lower than many of the other areas of the country. So you're going to get a bigger home, better quality of life, and more bang for your buck in North Carolina instead of living in a shoebox like some other areas of the country. Number 4 on the list, which I think is extremely important, we have a booming job market and economy here in North Carolina. One of the biggest reasons why folks reach out to me, especially when they see me on this channel, if they're moving to the area, because they're moving for work, for opportunities for job and for business. In fact, North Carolina has some of the best laws and regulations for entrepreneurs. So if that's you, North Carolina may be where you want to be. Now, on top of that, probably partially because of the policies, North Carolina has one of the fastest growing job markets in the country. Now, if you're trying to pinpoint where you want to be in North Carolina, Charlotte and followed by Raleigh are the top two cities for job seekers. In contrast, Raleigh does have a lot of job opportunities. Many of them are focused in the Research Triangle, where you have a lot of engineering and sciences. Because of a lot of the tax opportunities for major corporations, we've been seeing Fortune 500 companies scoping out North Carolina for relocation for their entire corporate office. Some of the major players who have or are in the process of relocating their corporate offices to North Carolina include Apple, Google, Meta, Toyota, and Boom Supersonic, just to name a few. Now, in addition to that, Charlotte, North Carolina specifically is the second biggest banking capital in the United States, aside from New York itself. So this brings a big powerhouse for financial institutions into our markets. Every state, of course, has its major industries. For North Carolina, we have major industries in tech, finance, healthcare, and manufacturing. With job growth booming, salaries rising, and new companies setting up shop, North Carolina is quickly becoming the go-to spot for career growth. Number 3 on the list, better quality of life and outdoor perks. Yes, North Carolina is a very outdoor state. Well, I know you have the comparison of places like Colorado and up in the mountains. Well, here's the thing. They get fairly cold. They also get snow. We don't really get that here in the Carolinas. You will get some snow up in the mountains, but most of the rest of the state, we don't see snow at all during the year. In fact, you will find some beautiful, sunny 70-degree days, sometimes in the middle of January and February. Now, while that's not the standard, what it does allow is for a lot of outdoor space usage. In fact, most people will be able to spend at least 3, maybe even 4 seasons outside. This is why a lot of the places where you're going to go for restaurants and breweries, everything has outdoor availability for seating, and it's also very kid and dog friendly. Now, in addition to that, we have the amazing opportunity that for our state, we have everything from the beaches to the mountains. That's right, you could be surfing in the morning and go hiking in the afternoon if you really wanted to. To go all the way from Asheville out to Wilmington is about 6 hours. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but it gives you the opportunity that if you wanted to live somewhere smack dab in the middle, maybe in Charlotte, you can be 2 hours to the mountains and 3.5 hours to multiple beaches. Now, for some folks, they want the beach life, and it has so much opportunity to do so in and throughout the Wilmington area, all the way up the coast into the Outer Banks. If you want the mountains, we have the beautiful Appalachian Mountains. By the way, to all my Northerners, it's not Appalachian. I have been corrected on this. It's Appalachian. So you have the Appalachian Mountains, the Great Smokies, absolutely gorgeous. And in between, you have parks, recreation, lakes, you name it, there's always something to do. So if you like being outdoors and actually love to do something with your weekends, North Carolina is literally your dream state. So like I said, surf in the morning, hike in the afternoon, and sip on a glass of wine in the evening. Reason number 2 why people are flocking to North Carolina, they're escaping their current states. I hear this all the time from people who are looking to North Carolina to relocate. They are fed up with the places where they live, the cities and states that are just so overcrowded. Places where we're seeing the biggest migration in North Carolina are from New York, California, you probably could have guessed those, Illinois, and Florida. Now, some of the biggest reasons that they state are just too much traffic and congestion, they're not getting enough bang for their buck, many of the other reasons above, but the overcrowding is truly an issue. In fact, many of the people that I speak to actually came maybe from California or New York, moved to Florida, and now they're looking to North Carolina. Part of the reason could be the heat, but the other big reason is that it is just getting too overcrowded. And I will attest, I've actually done a video on this with regards to Florida. Florida actually has less square miles for human habitation because there's a lot of marshes and swamps and things in that area because of those low-lying areas. that we in North Carolina have almost double the square miles available than Florida does. But Florida has over 900 people per day moving to the state. Meanwhile, North Carolina has about 250. What this is telling and showing us is that we have plenty of sustainability. We have the space, we have the infrastructure, and we have the ability to grow and support the influx of people moving to our area. In fact, North Carolina is rated the 3rd most popular state to move inbound in the US. And of course, in any major cities such as Charlotte in North Carolina, we do have some traffic. However, it is nothing like you would experience in Orlando or New York or in California or over there in Chicago or even in Atlanta. Not anywhere close. People are done with overpriced cities, high taxes, and sitting for hours in traffic. North Carolina is that sweet spot where you get city convenience without the insanity. And number 1 on the list of why people are moving to North Carolina: friendly communities and Southern charm. That's right, Southern charm is really a thing, and as an original New Yorker who moved here many years ago, I can attest that there is a major difference in North Carolina and any of the other areas of the country. Now, part of this is that there is a bit of slow down and smell the roses kind of vibe that you get once you enter this state. In fact, many of my clients don't believe me until they visit and they realize this is a real thing. People really do stop on the street and say hi and wave. Yes, that is true. It's called Southern charm, and it's a part of what you get when you move to the area. Now, along with this is a bit of a more relaxed, family-friendly, very relatable feel. In addition to that, not only the towns and cities, but some of the smaller communities throughout the North Carolina area all cater to getting people together to truly create a community vibe. Now, shout out to my New Yorkers. I know I'm talking a lot about you today, but as a native New Yorker, you get this. Remember block parties back in the day? They don't happen anymore. Well, imagine if you had block parties, festivals, all kinds of gatherings throughout the year in your community to actually get to know people. That's what North Carolina is all about. We have festivals, we have fairs, we have events pretty much every weekend in about any town or city that you go to throughout the Carolinas. In fact, it depends upon where you're going and what time of year, but there are particular seasons for particular areas. If you're out on the coast in September and October, you've got Ocean Fest in Surf City. If you come inland a little bit into Raleigh, we have these amazing festivals and celebrations that happen in springtime. There's a lot of them. If you go down into the Fort Mill area or down into the South Charlotte area, there are strawberry festivals. And I'm talking all about fruit because apparently that's my theme. You can go up to the mountains for the apple blossom festivals. There is so much to do. There's never a time where you feel like you can't gather with others. Now, in addition to that, a lot of people along with this are coming to the area because of our school system. North Carolina has one of the most vast university systems in the United States. With over 7 major universities that are all public across the state, as well as dozens of private schools across the state, you won't have a hard time finding the perfect school that fits what you need. And the great part, it's way more affordable than many of the other in-state schools that you're gonna find across the country. So the reason people say Southern hospitality is a thing, it's because it is. If you're tired of the hustle and bustle and never knowing your neighbor, North Carolina offers a slower, friendlier feel, but it still has enough speed that it won't make you bored. So what is the main reason why people are moving to North Carolina? Well, it's a combination of lower taxes, better affordability, larger homes at a lower price, the Southern hospitality mixed in with the amazing job growth, and of course, an overall better quality of life. So whether you're escaping high costs or you just want a little bit more room to breathe, North Carolina may be the perfect state for you. So I want to hear your comments. What are some of the reasons why you moved to North Carolina or you're considering North Carolina? I do get to all of my comments and I want to hear from you. If this video brought you value, please go ahead and subscribe and be the first to know about everything North Carolina, the ins, the outs, and everything in between. And as I mentioned, we do get calls, texts, emails, Zoom invites every single day from people just like you looking to move to the Charlotte, North Carolina and South Carolina area. So if that's you, All of our contact information is in the description below. Feel free to call, text, email, set up a Zoom with us, whether it's 9 days or 90 days from now, whether you're moving across the country, across the world, or just across town. We're here to make your move everything you want it to be. Until next time, I look forward to showing you around town. So you're making the move. There's a lot of videos that you can be watching, like this one right here, or maybe even this one. Really either one of these, but honestly, watch both of them because they're gonna help you make the move. Go ahead, pick one. They're both really good.